Welcome to RCR Wireless here at Mobile World Congress. I'm Lemore Schaffman here with Tom Loozen. Tom, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, nice to be here.
And you're with Accenture with their Communications, Media and Technology Group?
Yes, indeed, yeah.
So give us an overview. What do you do?
Yeah, so what I do within Communications, Media and Technology, we basically look after the industry's media, communications and technology, and I specifically focus on the telecommunications business. And what that means is that basically I work with our people to define a growth strategy to, well, help telecommunications companies become better companies, become high performers as we call them. And that could be in many different ways. It could be to help them increase their revenues, could be helping them cut the costs, could be helping them in terms of getting to better investment, lowering their capex to get to returns. Yeah.
Okay. So you're working with carriers, you're working with cable companies, satellite companies, all different?
Yeah, wireless, wireline, cable carriers, yeah, you just mentioned them. Yeah.
So are there differences in terms of the kinds of advice that you're offering each one of those different segments?
Well, yeah, there is differences. Right? If there's pure wireless operators, there's a different kind of strategy that we think they should follow. And for example, the fixed incumbent ones are typically more into, let's say, making sure that they keep their customers, that they basically, grow. That they grow the returns on their existing base of customers, while wireless companies actually can still go after a lot of new clients, which is much more difficult for fixed ones.
So in terms of the ways to grow revenues, what are some of the trends that you're seeing in the industry?
Yeah, so what we see a lot in the industry is that things like, through analytics and through next best actions. So instead of having a customer interaction, somebody calls about an invoice or somebody calls with a complaint or whatever, instead of just dealing with that and then letting go, you actually turn that conversation into an opportunity and you get a client engaged on other things that may be helpful for him. So that's an important one.
So like what? Can you give us an example?
Yeah, well, the example is, for example, when somebody calls that, he's trying to actually get his wife or his daughter to also get a mobile phone. It's an easy opportunity to basically say, well, many of the carriers have actually family packages, so it's really simple to say, well, I recognize, that you would need this, we have this package, why don't you actually, take the full package, and instead of having the full price, you get a discount because you're, well, taking a part of an additional, of this full package.
Okay. And how about from an operations perspective, how are you helping companies?
Yeah, so on operations perspective, there's a couple of things. One big theme is basically to make things simpler. So many operators still have a huge amount of products that they offer to clients. And the reason why they do it is because, well, they always did that and they just stay with all these products. So one element is basically simplifying things, less products. Then also looking at the processes, see if you can get to simpler processes. Sometimes it's actually that you say, well, those processes don't necessarily need to be executed on site. You can take them to a cheaper place. And it's also working on IT, where there's still many applications sort of intertwined. And it's very helpful to see if you can get to a new architecture which is simpler, which will basically cut costs of operations. So there's a couple of angles you can take.
So now here looking at Barcelona in terms of Walkaways, what are you seeing and what are you going to keep in mind as you go forward in developing your business?
Yeah, that's a good, well, I think at least two ones clearly come into mind. One is around mobile video. So I think the explosion of video consumption is a very important one. And the interesting thing I think also about mobile video is that the people that consume mobile video and the hour of the day that people consume that mobile video is different than the classic video which was consumed. So that makes quite a shift, I think, in the whole let's say TV model. So I think that's an interesting one also for us to think about with carriers. Do they want to be in that business? How do they want to be in the business? I think the other one is the importance of design. So I've seen a lot of examples where, well, previously boring or even annoying elements like, getting an invoice and having to read through the invoice are now more made into something which, well, becomes worthwhile reading and actually is a way of engaging in a positive manner with the telco.
Wonderful. Tom, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you.
And thank you for being with us here at RCR Wireless. Stay tuned for more from the show floor.